What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update, and daily news report for Friday, August 20th. So we are finally getting lawmakers to come out and demand a stimulus check. Many are saying we have to provide a stimulus check to the American people to get them through this tough time. And let me ask you this exact same question. Do you think that we should be getting an additional stimulus check, even though there is data out there that's showing that the economy has been recovering, but with COVID cases increasing, with the potential, the chance that businesses will have to close down? Lawmakers are saying this exact same thing. A handful of lawmakers ask how a fourth stimulus check couldn't be included into this bill, into this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill, when it is much larger than the last package. And just to give you an idea, the last stimulus package, it was for $1.9 trillion. That was the American Rescue Plan. Well, that included over $400 billion for a $1,400 stimulus check to over 150 million Americans. That was a huge stimulus package that helped out millions and millions of people. Now, they say with this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill, or also known as a stimulus package, there should be more than enough room in this bill for an additional payment to the American people. Now, what we are seeing right now is that many lawmakers are just trying to get a grasp and somewhat of an understanding as to what people like Senator Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, President Biden, what they want to include into this $3.5 trillion bill. Well, what we know is that next week, Nancy Pelosi in the House, they're going to come back and they will vote on the budget resolution bill. This is going to allow the House committees to get together and start working on the budget reconciliation. Just the other day, Senator Bernie Sanders and President Biden, along with other House leadership, they actually got together. They actually got together to discuss what the House committee's role is going to be, how they're going to move forward and implement the framework that Bernie Sanders and President Biden have put together. What I can tell you is that right now, many are pushing President Biden to come out and be in favor of another stimulus check, to be in favor of additional direct payments to the American people, because they say these will most likely be needed very soon. Many are saying with the Delta COVID variant surging across the United States, which I'll have more information on that towards the end of this video, many lawmakers are also worried that lockdowns are going to take place again. Now, we've heard from the White House, we've heard from President Biden himself that lockdowns are not going to happen. However, health experts do anticipate we will see some form of a lockdown. It might not be this 2-week or 4-week complete shutdown like we've seen in Germany, in the UK, and in Australia, but we could see some form of a lockdown. We could see only essential businesses be open. We could see only people that have been vaccinated work in those businesses that are in direct contact with the public. We could see more lockdowns and bigger restrictions coming very soon. This is why some lawmakers, many lawmakers actually, we have over 100 lawmakers that are pushing for additional assistance. Again, assistance and stimulus is different. Stimulus is direct money to you, right into your pocket. Assistance could be nutrition assistance, housing assistance, and also financial assistance through a stimulus check. So more than 100 lawmakers, and probably over 200 or 300 lawmakers, do support additional assistance, but right now we know it's over at least 100. As to whether it's 199 or 101, we don't know. But reports indicate over 100 lawmakers support additional assistance. My guess is it's closer to that 150 to 200 lawmaker mark. But again, we will see as time goes on. Next week is going to be a huge week. We're finally getting to that point where Nancy Pelosi is going to bring back the House. They're going to vote on the budget resolution. Hopefully we get this passed. If it gets passed, then the House committees will start working on the budget reconciliation bill. And then we will finally have an answer as to what's going to be in there. What is hidden in that framework? What is $3.5 trillion actually going to get the American people? And again, many are saying we need more assistance. So finally, we are going to get there. Now, President Biden has been very quiet on some fronts. Regarding the infrastructure package, yes, he supports it. He wants to get it done. But at the same time, he's dealing with the Mexican border, the crisis down there. But that's been overshadowed by the crisis in Afghanistan. And just last week, President Biden's approval rating dropped by 7 points. 7 points in 1 week. That's a major drop, just because of the way he's handled the Afghanistan situation. So, even though President Biden wants to push for more to the American people, now he has this call from lawmakers saying, hey, we need to provide more to Afghanistan as well. Just yesterday, we actually heard from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She actually stopped a $450 million payment that would have landed in the Taliban's hands. So that was actually very good as well. But again, that's just $450 million. It's still a substantial amount of money. I wish I had $450 million. But, again, it's $450 million when we are looking at a $3.5 trillion bill. So some are saying that we need to focus on the American people. And let me get your thoughts as well. Should we be more focused on here and now in the United States, or also be focused on other countries as well? Really, I'm curious what your thoughts are. Now, we have heard from the World Health Organization. They say that the Biden administration pushing for booster shots starting September 20th is the wrong move. That we cannot be pushing for booster shots. Number one, this hasn't even been fully approved by the FDA. The FDA hasn't even approved booster shots yet. And then on top of that, the World Health Organization is saying you are going to provide booster shots for your citizens when half the country or half the world, probably even more than half the world, hasn't even had a single vaccine yet? That's not right. But again, let me ask you, do you think we should be prioritizing us here in the United States or the rest of the world? Just curious on your thoughts. Also, here's what you need to understand. Right now, many are saying that stimulus checks will need to happen in order to get the American people through this crisis that we are facing. Also, keep in mind that many Americans, they haven't even recovered from the past year. Lawmakers are talking about providing additional assistance to get us through this next phase. But the weird thing is, the crazy part is, we haven't even got the assistance to help us with the past year. And let me ask you this. Are you still struggling? If you are behind on rent, right? Many are saying that they're still months behind on rent. Many have maxed out credit cards. For those that are still looking for work, the problem there is your unemployment benefits could be expiring in just 2 weeks. A little over 2 weeks away, and your unemployment benefits will expire, will be gone completely. Yeah, President Biden and the White House did state that the states, the individual states, could use some of their $350 billion that they received from the American Rescue Plan and use some of that money towards extending the federal unemployment benefits. This includes the $300 per week. This includes the pandemic unemployment assistance to gig workers and self-employed. And this also includes extending the long-term unemployment. But again, this comes down to the states. Many experts say that this move will not work for many states, and many are not going to even consider it. Now, we're also getting reports from Republicans. Republicans are now stating that they are furious with the amount of spending in that $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. That's not any new news. We've known that for a while. However, here's the difference. Republicans are now stating that Democrats can't call this infrastructure because that is not what it is. It is directly stimulus. They say that giving money to programs or states that have previously wasted money is not a good use of funds. That is wasteful spending. Many lawmakers say that even in the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, which is a bipartisan bill, and when I say bipartisan, I mean there were 10 Republicans and 10 Democrats that crafted this bill. It has seen the support of 18, or I think it was 19 last time, Republicans got on board and supported this bill. However, they still say there's so much wasteful spending, and a lot of people still don't know what is in the bill. Cities and states, what they're saying is they rarely use their own money for infrastructure, and if that's the case, these cities and states shouldn't be rewarded for their negligence. That's just what they're saying. Now, I don't know for sure, how many projects have been thrown into this $1.2 trillion bill just to buy off Democrats or Republicans. I didn't go through the entire bill. Honestly, this $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, it's going to be important. However, it's not as important to the American people as the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. And again, there are some experts that believe Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are going to have a tough time passing that $3.5 trillion budget resolution bill in order to start working on the budget reconciliation. And if that's the case, if that bill doesn't pass, progressives are going to tank the $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill. So even though the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill was passed first, according to experts, that would actually be the last bill to pass. That will not happen unless the Democrat-only budget reconciliation bill passes as well. And progressives are going to hold the $1.2 trillion bill hostage until moderates in the Senate and the House agree to pass $3.5 trillion to the American people. But again, this is something that we are waiting on. It's going to happen next week. Nancy Pelosi and House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer have both said they will be back next week to vote on this, and Steny Hoyer even said this is going to happen on Tuesday. So again, we're about 4 days away. So as we know a little bit more information there, I promise I will fill you in on that update as well. But let's get into the COVID news for today because we have a lot of it. Yesterday, more than 1 million people in the United States got the COVID vaccine. About 550,000 people got their first dose, and this is a major metric. This is actually the highest amount of vaccinations in the past 7 weeks. Experts attribute this to the surging COVID cases, going back to school, and vaccine mandates by businesses. But nonetheless, experts say vaccines are helping. Health experts have been saying for a while that a vaccine doesn't prevent you from getting COVID. And this is that misinformation that we're seeing all across the internet and really any social media platform is, why get a vaccine if I can still contract the virus? And the reason experts are telling us is because getting the COVID vaccine greatly reduces the chances of hospitalizations. And right now, hospitals are full. As of this morning, 51% of Americans are now fully vaccinated. About 60% of Americans have received at least the first dose of a vaccine. Experts are worried that right now the most at-risk people are children. Here's the reason why. They say with schools opening back up for in-person learning and some opting to go without masks, it is creating a very scary situation. Just in Mississippi alone, just to give you an idea, they've been in school for 1 week doing in-person learning. And currently, more than 4,000 people have tested positive. Over 20,000 students are now under quarantine. And this is just from 1 week of in-person learning. That is very scary. We also know that in Texas, that they have announced that they will temporarily stop enforcing the governor's ban on mask mandates in public schools. They say they're going to look into this a little bit further, but experts are predicting that this is just a stall tactic and they're not going to use the ban. This is due to the surge in new COVID cases and the amount of hospitals that are nearing capacity in the ICU. Just to give you an idea, here's what was happening in North Texas. Doctors in North Texas considered taking patients' vaccination status into account when determining who gets an ICU bed. Now, that statement it kind of goes both ways. It's like, okay, you are not vaccinated, so you should get an ICU bed because chances are you are going to need a ventilator and you're going to need more assistance. But at the same time, doctors are saying, well, if you are not vaccinated, why should we reward you with saving your life and giving you a bed? But at the same time, that statement has actually been walked back. But doctors say that this is still being considered. This is not a rule. This is not some type of requirement. But this is something that doctors will consider when multiple patients come in at the same time. Who gets an ICU bed? Now, they say this will be considered once the region gets into the level 3 crisis stage. So we're going to see there's going to be some pushback from hospitals and doctors. Some are saying that we should have all received a vaccine by now. There's no reason why people are not vaccinated. And this could be one of the additional pushes is, okay, if you are not vaccinated, you may not have the priority, or you may have a little bit more priority than people that are vaccinated, because according to experts, people that are vaccinated do not see as severe of symptoms and shouldn't be hospitalized. So we will see what happens there, but as of right now, there's so much going on. And right now, and this is finally what we're seeing is lawmakers are questioning, okay, if we are seeing another surge in COVID cases, if we're going to go in another round, if we're going to potentially be on lockdown once again, then more stimulus and more assistance to the American people is needed. So finally, we're going to get some answers, and as we do, I promise I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed today's update, could you do me a favor? Go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Also, consider subscribing so that I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.